Hey everyone, you're tuning into another episode of Trendy Indy. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. I'm your host, Jerry Gordon, your local real estate expert, and today I am joined by Shane Peterson, owner of Homes Experts of Indiana. And this is going to be a great episode because regardless of if you're buying or selling, this is the man to go to. And with that said, Shane, could you give us a little bit about your experience and your background, please?
Yeah, sure. So I've been doing home inspections in the Indianapolis market for over 10 years now. All right. And in that time, I've managed 10 plus inspectors. I've done 6,000 inspections just on myself. So I was lucky enough to be able to start Home Experts of Indiana 2 years ago. We just celebrated our second anniversary
Congratulations.
in June. Yeah, no, it has been great. So I've got three other inspectors who work for me. And my job as the owner is to be able to do stuff like this because I get to work with great agents like you, but then also manage my agents, all right, for consistency.
So you mentioned doing this for 10 years in Indianapolis. Why this community? Are you happy? What's going on?
Yeah, no, so I actually born and raised in Carmel
Okay.
On the north side and never really went very far. So my first house was in Noblesville. I now live back in Carmel, maybe 5 minutes from where I grew up. My son goes to Carmel High School, which is where I graduated. So yeah, it's a little bigger now, not much though. It's it's huge. It was huge when I was there.
So, okay, let's get into the meat of it. Talking about home inspections, a lot of people, home buyers or home sellers, they always kind of question, what does a home inspection cover? Every home inspector is different. Every home inspection company is different. What do you guys cover?
Sure. Yeah. So first thing is home inspections. We are licensed by the state of Indiana. So what it covers, we're actually told what we're supposed to inspect. All right,
Okay.
and those are the major components of the house. Okay, it's a visual inspection, but we're also checking for function. So we always work outside in and top down because we're following the path of water. All
Okay.
right. So think roof, siding. That's the outside. We're working our way down. Then we're working
Gravity.
inside. Right. Then we're working inside to checking windows, checking outlets, running water. Because again, the plumbing, we're back to that water issue again. Working top down because we're going to find an issue in the basement if there's a leak or that sort of thing. So yeah, we're told by the state of Indiana what we're supposed to inspect,
Okay.
and so we go to those standards. Now, you said each home inspection company is different.
Yep.
A lot of that is because we're told what to inspect, but not how we're supposed to or how we're supposed to report it. Right. All that is up to the individual inspection company as far as what that looks like.
So can you expand a little bit about how you guys, Home Experts of Indiana, how you guys do it?
Yeah. So we basically, the way our reports work is I think of the report as a cheat sheet. Okay. So when we come in to do an inspection, the first thing I do is set up my computer in the kitchen, and I've got my software in front of me. I go inspect part of the house, and I go back and type it up because my memory is not good enough to remember everything that I'm saying. Also, I'm taking pictures, and that picture is also my memory.
Yep.
So as I'm putting that report together, if I forget something, when I go to put the picture in, okay, what was that picture of? Oh yeah, I saw that. I need to make sure it gets it in the report. I cannot tell you how many times that I get to interiors, I'm writing everything up, and I didn't check a smoke detector. Right? Now, if I had done the whole inspection and left and I'm typing it up at home and I didn't check the smoke detectors, I'm out of luck. Right? So that it allows us to use that template that we have on, step by step how we fill out that inspection to make sure we're catching everything.
Sounds like you guys got a lot of good systems in place.
Correct. Yes. So we actually just use a software, right? It's an inspection software, and there's lots of them out there. And that, again, that's another reason why each inspection company's reports look different. They're using different software. They're using different templates. They all go together. Our goal, because we changed ours when I started Home Experts, our goal is to make it as easy to read and navigate as possible.
And they are.
Yeah.
They are very easy to read. That's one reason why I highly recommend them, because it's very user-friendly and very easy to follow.
Yeah, and interactive. Like ours, if you're in our cloud going through the report, we've got a picture there where you can actually click on it, and it makes it bigger.
Yeah.
Right? And just something as simple as that, because I understand you've been doing this a while.
Yep.
All right, and so you see an inspection report, you know what to do. Your clients don't.
No.
Right? It can be intimidating. It's 50, 60, 70 pages, all these pictures. The way I always like to phrase it, your client is super excited. They finally have an accepted offer.
Right.
Okay? My job is to come in and tell them everything that's wrong with it. That's hard. And so on your end, managing those expectations, right, and on my end, managing how I communicate that is huge.
Now, talking about, because there are times where I've heard, oh, hey, my home inspector didn't check this, or why didn't this come up? You guys, you're not pulling back drywall looking for things, right?
Right. And that's the first part of the inspection. The definition is it's a visual inspection, by a licensed home inspector. It's visual. I can't see behind walls.
Okay.
Now we are running the furnace, running water, doing those sort of things, but then I'm looking to see if anything's leaking or looking for items that are wrong. I'm not an HVAC contractor, right? So even though I'm checking an air conditioner and a furnace, I'm not pulling it apart. I'm not checking amperages. It's not the same thing as having your furnace looked at by a qualified contractor.
Yep.
The best way to explain it is I'm your family doctor. I'm your general practitioner.
You go to a specialist.
And your knee's really bothering you. Okay, we need to send you to a specialist. Right. That's where our recommendations of have it, looked at by evaluated by a qualified contractor. Oh, because I know something's wrong.
Right.
I don't know the extent. Let's bring somebody in who can find out that what the extent is, but they can also figure out what it's going to take to fix it.
So with that, because it's visual, are there additional services that one can have when having an inspection?
Yes. So probably the most common one is radon, right? Okay. So radon testing. Radon's a naturally occurring gas that comes up from the ground from uranium deposits. You can't see it, you can't smell it. There's no way to know it's there.
But it's everywhere.
But it's everywhere. It's outside, right? And the EPA recommends testing for radon on every real estate transaction. Because I'll have people ask me, hey, I'm buying a house on a slab. Should I test for radon? Well, I'm going to use the EPA as a cop-out here. The EPA recommends testing for radon on every real estate transaction. That's my answer. But it's really up to your clients as far as what they want to do. Right. Our job and your job is to give them information. Okay, now
let them make the decision.
Well, right. We see a swimming pool in the backyard. That's not part of a standard home inspection. We don't check them. But I can see the swimming pool, and I know to ask, hey, would you like my pool guy to come out and check that swimming pool? Right? That's obvious. Radon's not so obvious. Well water, septic, those aren't always obvious about if that house has those features, right? And so I know for you as an agent, it's important to know, oh, this house has a septic. Okay, let's
inspect it.
Let's inspect it, right? And that also not part of a standard home inspection. Right. I've got a septic guy. That's what he does. He comes out and looks at those.
So glaring, obvious question, but to those who may be watching, what are the benefits to not only having an inspection for buying, but also considering if you're considering selling?
Okay, yeah. So, but let's start with buying. Okay. All right, COVID changed everything.
It did.
So for the first 8 years I did this, the inspection was about the inspection response. I am giving the information to the buyer and the buyer's agent so they can fill out an inspection response and ask for stuff. Well, COVID happened. We went into a seller's market. Inspection responses went away. And so what we did became way more about education and knowledge. Okay? Hey, I know you're not going to be able to ask for anything. Here's what's wrong with the house. Here's what this means. And here's how you take care of it moving forward. All right? And so even now that we're in more of a balanced market, our job is still education, number one. Okay? Now, there are inspection responses happening, so we can speak to that a little bit, but that negotiation is way more up to the agent. Now, on the seller side, agents, every time we bring this up on a panel or I'm in an office, it turns into a bit of an argument. Mm-hmm. I have...
And he does do a lot of panels,
yeah,
FYI.
I have agents that swear by pre-inspections for the sellers, and I have agents that say they will never do it. All right? And I see both sides. The ones who swear by doing it, they have me come in, we do a pre-inspection, they now know everything that's wrong with the house, to a certain extent, and I have one agent who takes my inspection report, puts it on the BLC, and it's called full disclosure. They've now disclosed everything that they know that's wrong with the house, and they're going into it with pretty open eyes about, okay, if they don't list it on the purchase agreement, they can't ask for it, right? And then they're getting offers with those items already listed, which makes the inspection response period later on easier, okay? But then I also have agents who are very successful who say, I'll never do a pre-inspection. I don't want to know what's wrong with the house. Don't tell me. We'll figure it out and negotiate it later on. So it's really up to agents to decide how they want to move through that transaction.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I know I'm asking Shane the questions, but home ownership is a very big deal. So what are the questions that home buyers should be asking home inspectors during this?
That's a good one. All right. So I always like to start off with the most obvious. And again, 6,000 inspections. I've been asked this once.
Okay.
I want to see your license.
Nice.
I'm licensed by the state of Indiana. I have to carry my license around in my clipboard. I've had one young lady to say, "Hey, can I see your license?" Like, this is during the inspection. I'm introducing myself. I'm talking through. Can I see your license? Yeah, sure. Pulled it out one time. Okay. So number one, make sure your inspector is licensed. Okay. We're supposed to be licensed. Not as much as a question, but be engaged, right? Okay. Like you just said, homeownership's hard. It's the biggest purchase they're ever going to make. The number of people who are too busy to come to the inspection to learn, or they get to the inspection and they're just texting, or they're on their phone and they're not engaged. It is a 3 to 4 hour period where I am trying to gain as much knowledge about the house as I can and then pass that along to that buyer.
Like you said, it's all about informing them.
Correct. It's tough to do that when they're not paying attention. Right. All right. So also from an agent standpoint, the way I always picture this, again, 60, 70 pages, only stuff that's wrong, right? I'm not listing good items. Picture your client in bed at 10 o'clock at night. They just got the inspection report that day, and they're reading it on their phone or tablet with no context whatsoever. That scares me.
Yeah.
Right?
And you do a great job at going through it.
Yeah. I don't want, because what's going to happen if that happens is you're going to get a phone call at 8 a.m., maybe 7 a.m. They couldn't wait. Oh, I can't believe everything that's wrong with the house, and you're having to talk them down by them simply attending the inspection and me being able to just verbally communicate, which I can do way better in person versus the written report, which is a little scary, right? So being able to put it in context, I think really helps trying to manage those emotions.
Okay. And I know you mentioned COVID and how that's changed the market, but regardless of whatever market we're in, whether someone's watching this 5 years from now or whenever it may be, if a buyer gets repairs done, what advice do you have for having what to do next? What's their next step?
The next step is verify repairs. Okay. And you need to be thinking about that from the get-go, right? You're looking through the inspection report, you're helping them fill out the inspection response, and it's thinking forward, okay, how am I going to verify that these things are actually done? Sometimes it can be as simple as on a final walkthrough, hey, they were supposed to replace that window. As you're walking through, oh, they replaced that window. That's awesome. Okay. Almost always it's receipts. Okay. All right. And so you as an agent, 3 days, 5 days before closing, right? Hey, we're going to get receipts. We're going to look at them. Those receipts, I need to know who the company is, right? It can't be Uncle Bob, right? That's always a little worrisome. We want to look at what they did, all right? Does the work they put on the receipt match what we asked them to do? And then we want to look at the cost, okay? The one we see all the time is mold remediation, right? If it's a whole crawl space and they did it for $500, I'm questioning whether they did a good job, right? And so those three things.
Uncle Eddie may have done.
Oh, right, Uncle Eddie did that, and he cut him a deal. But the next step beyond that is if self-verification isn't enough, if receipts aren't going to cut it, it's a reinspection. Okay. All right, that's where we come back out, and every item that was asked for on that inspection response, we're double checking. Hey, was it? First off, did the seller agree to it? We're gonna compare the buyers and sellers' inspection responses, and then we're gonna look to see whether it was fixed and whether we think it was fixed correctly. All right, and by the way, we're still gonna recommend receipts. So even if I come out and double check it, get the receipts. Because if you find out something, again, visual inspection, something that was hidden that they didn't do properly, but they fooled me, we still want to know who to call. All right, and the best example of this, and I had this happen, we had ungrounded outlets. Okay. They asked for them to be repaired. The seller fixed them. I came in and did a reinspection, and they had falsified all the grounds. You can do that. You can actually fool my tester so it looks like they're grounded, but they're not. Okay. The buyer found this out about a month after moving into the house because he was doing some repairs and a friend was helping him. And he called me. He's like, how couldn't you catch this? Well, because when I plugged my tester in, everything seemed fine. But I asked him if he had got a receipt, and he hadn't. Right. And so then he's in a very bad spot of, who do I call? Right. First call is always going to be in me, and I will always take the phone call. My job from our clients is to help them through that process. But in that case, that client put themselves in a little bit of a tight spot by not getting the receipts. Yeah.
So, been doing this over 10 years, over 6,000 inspections. I'm sure you've gotten this question many, many times. Tell them.
Yep.
What is one of the craziest things that you have seen? What is something that's come to mind?
The one that sticks out to me, and again, this was years ago, back when we were doing bank-owned properties, and there were a lot of them. Okay. The bank made me sign a waiver before I could go in the house because there was so much mold.
Okay.
So again, I had to set my computer up out in the garage on a workbench, and every time I walked in the house to do anything, I had to put my mask on. So it was in, check stuff, back out, unmask, type everything up. That's the one that sticks out to me because I've never had a bank basically say, hey, you can't even walk inside this house unless you sign a waiver saying that I'm not liable for anything. Oh, yikes. That sounds dangerous, right? But no, I mean, every house can be fixed. That one just needs a little more work than most.
A little bit more TLC.
Yeah.
So then getting back to your company, what sets Home Experts of Indiana apart from other home inspectors?
Yeah, I'm hoping our customer service. All right. And I get this feedback from clients and agents all the time. So we are a local company. All right. When you call our phone, you're actually answering, or you're talking to somebody who works for me.
Right.
Okay. And that's important to me. I want every phone call answered. I want it answered by an actual live person. Because in this day and age, that's getting more and more rare.
Yeah.
So that customer service of being able to talk somebody through the process. I want you as an agent to trust your clients with me. To be able to go, hey, I call them and know that it's going to be taken care of. Okay. And that's important because it's a scary process. It's one that you understand. You do it every day. I do. Your clients don't.
Right.
So being able to, that's what your job, right, is to walk them through that process. I just want to be able to help with that.
So then I guess with that, you talked about being local. How do people find you if they want to get a hold of you, have a home inspection?
Sure. Number one, call. All right.
What's that
phone number is 317-933-1000. All right. If you call that, one of my admin will answer, and they'll basically step you through the whole process. Ask the questions of, hey, do you need this as part of your inspection? Hey, I see this on the listing. We're there to help you make those decisions. Okay. Other way, website, homeexpertsofindiana.com. We have a great online scheduler. You can actually just jump on, because I know some people don't like to call. Okay. But you can actually jump on our website, hit the schedule button, and just answer some questions, step you through.
It's a new day of age.
Well, correct. Yes, I was going to say, and which is actually really cool. Because getting people's names and email addresses correct is hard over the phone. So if all that gets passed electronically, we're great. We're still going to end up calling the client. All right. And then on social media, you can find us. Everything is Home Experts of Indiana. So Facebook, Instagram, all that.
Awesome. One other segment I like to have is called Wins and Wines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So doing this for over 10 years, you own the business now, but you've done 6,000 inspections yourself. What is something that you have thought, whether it be big, small, that you reflect on and you say, wow, that was a little bit of a big break that kind of propels some momentum? Mm-hmm. Is there anything that sticks out to your mind?
I mean, the biggest win for me is opening Home Experts of Indiana.
Yep.
Right. After doing this for other people for years, being able to branch out on my own, have my own brand, have my own business is huge.
Yeah, and you've been kicking butt at it.
Right. Well, and truthfully, I love doing inspections. So being that guy that went and did 3 inspections a day and just working hard and putting my head down, I loved that. Right. And truthfully, this part of it, I never thought I'd be that good at. But what do you have to do? You got to push yourself.
I think he's doing pretty good. What do you think?
I hope so. So you got to push yourself.
Yep.
And so that was the part I was uncertain about is could I do these sort of things or go talk in front of people? I'm the kid in high school when I had to get up and give the speech at speech class. I couldn't sleep the night before. I was just dreading it. So wins for me, opening my own business and then being able to engage like this. And this, you make this easy, right? We've known each other for years. So it's just talking to a buddy.
Yeah. And you've done such a great job. I'm truly proud of you. And on the flip side of that, obviously comes the question, what has been over the many years in your experience where you've kind of gone home at night and thought, I don't know if this is the right thing for me. I don't know if I should follow in Dad's footsteps.
Right.
Is there something that you've kind of whined about?
I know you call this wines. I'm going to make it simple. No wines, man.
No wines.
Not allowed to. All right. I might at home by myself, but truthfully, market's hard right now.
Yep.
Right. But what does that mean? That means I got to go out there and work. And if
good lesson.
Right. If the same amount of homes aren't being sold as last year, the market's down, that volume's down. That means I got to increase my market share. And it's that simple. And how do I do that? So instead of I could focus on market's down, I don't know what I'm going to do. No. All right, I know what I've got to do. I've got to work harder. I've got to increase my market share to be able to do the same volume. And for me, it's way better doing that than whining about it.
All right, I like that answer. Well, if you're thinking about buying a house, I've known Shane for many years, and I could talk to him all day about everything under the sun with regarding real estate and home inspections. But at the end of the day, if you're thinking about buying a home, give me a call. Let's make this team happen, get you into that house. If you have any questions or you do know someone who you think could benefit from, tag, share this, or even drop a comment and he'll fill it out for you. Thanks again. Appreciate it, Shane.
Thanks, Jerry. A lot of fun.
Yep.